everybody, I'm Lisa Rowberry, your independent Scentsy consultant. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is one that's going to be a little bit different because I haven't actually done a video like this, although I absolutely love watching videos like this. I just haven't personally done one. So my friend here on YouTube, Tina, left me a comment and asked if I have done a video sharing my top 10 Scentsy picks from last year. Here we are in January 2023, and I am going to give you, this is the hardest thing to do, I am going to give you my top 10 Scentsy picks from last year, 2022. So the scents that I have picked have been available at some point during 2022. So I know I'm gonna name off some scents that y'all are gonna know are my favorites. And some of you may say, hey, but what about this scent? What about this scent? I wish I could pick them all. I wish I could pick them all. And there's even more scents that would definitely make my list if we were including like Scentsy Club, but I am so thankful that we are just going to narrow it down to scents that were available during the year of 2022. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So these are not in any particular order, and as I mentioned, this was a very difficult thing. I had to make a list, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but I had to actually like cross off some things. I was like, because I wanted to pull some bars and actually sniff them and share with you why I love them so much. And as I was like picking bars, I was like, oh, but I see that. Oh, but that has to make my list. And so I was like, okay, it has to make my list. I'm gonna have to cross something off. So there were two that initially made my list that while I was like picking other bars, I was like, yeah, no. So I'm gonna make those honorable mentions. So I'm gonna give you my top 10 with two honorable mentions. So we're gonna talk about 12 scents today. I'm sorry, I'm the worst. I am the worst. It's so hard for me to just like pick a favorite scent because I love them all. So, all right, let's go ahead and dive right in since we are talking about several scents here. You guys already know. You had to know that Maraschino Sugar Cookie was going to make my list. This was the highlight of my year when we found out that this was not only coming back. Maraschino Sugar Cookie was a Whiff Box exclusive the year prior. So I actually remember buying like 3 or 4 Whiff Boxes just to get my hands on more of that bar because that was only available in the Whiff Box during that month. I think it was the month of December 2021. And I know a few people picked up a couple of boxes, and like I know I was like just hanging on to the last bar that I had of it because I didn't want to be without it. So then when the holiday bricks for 2022 were announced and we found out Maraschino Sugar Cookie was coming back, I was elated along with a lot of other people. This scent isn't necessarily for everybody, but a lot of people really enjoy it because it is amazing. It is a bakery lover's dream. This is so good. It really is. Like, you have the sweetness of the cherry, and what I did hear quite a bit of is that some people think that this smells like cherry chapstick. I don't get that. Like, I do smell the cherry definitely is there, but I get like a warm richness of that like sugar cookie that comes through. It's just so good to me. It's fantastic. It's a little bit too much for my husband, so when I do warm this, I either warm a little less wax in the warmers when it's going, or I will mix it with sugar cookies. So just to kind of like mellow it out just a little bit, but still allow it to shine through. This was like, I was so happy. I was so happy when we saw that this was coming back. So that is and this is not, by the way, these scents are not in any particular order. I know you're probably like, of course this is going to be your number one, but really honestly, like I cannot choose a number one. These are all favorites for good reason. They're different and they're fabulous and they're all my favorites. So Scentsy's actual scent description of Maraschino Sugar Cookie is sugar cookie dough baked with vanilla and drizzled in a sweet maraschino cherry glaze. It is so good. It's so good. It's in my club. You can't get the brick anymore, so I do apologize, but you better believe it's in my club and I will get it forever and ever and ever. Okay, the next one, number 2, not necessarily in this order, but probably pretty high up on the list here. Nobody's surprised. Hocus Hocus inspired bar, Sanderson Sisters. Oh, talk about shocker. Talk about a scent that really threw me. Sanderson Sisters totally threw me, so much so that I had actually ordered this. You guys know I love to do unboxings with you guys and share my first sniffs and first opinions on things, and this one I didn't even film. Like, I had ordered a couple of bars along with some other things and like local orders and stuff, and so there were just, for whatever reason, I didn't have the time to sit down and film, and I needed to get these orders out, so I didn't record my first sniffs, and man, do I wish I would have because I had zero expectations for this. I don't know why. I thought it was gonna be fine. For whatever reason, the scent description didn't thrill me. I thought, oh, that's gonna be nice. I didn't think it was gonna be life-changing. And then I smelled it. And I will always remember smelling it for the first time and thinking, wait, what? What just happened here? What is this? Okay. Oh my gosh, it is so good. This is so nice. It's like a dark, sweet plum scent with like a vanilla finish. I want to say that there's like a cherry note in here. And I'm not typically, I didn't used to be one who loved cherry scents, but clearly things are changing. I think there is like a little bit of like a cherry note in here, which is why, and I'm going to read the scent description to you. And I think when I read it, I thought there's a lot that's going on and I don't know what to expect with it. It's beautiful. And this is one of the scents that, like, it's beautiful on cold, but then when it's warming up, it comes alive and develops even more. It's so good. This one's no longer available, but some of these are available, some of these are not available, some of these will hopefully come back this, next spring and summer season, but sometime within 2022, all of these scents were available. Let me go ahead and tell you the scent description for Hocus Pocus, besides the fact that it is absolutely life-changing and phenomenal, and it's amazing. Okay. Sanderson Sisters is described as take enchanted blackberry and black plum, add forbidden cherry and a splash of spiced vanilla, then stir thrice to leave them spellbound. Whoo, girl, I was spellbound when I smelled this. I was just like, it's amazing. Like, even now, like, even though I have warmed like 70 bajillion bars of this already, like, even when every time I smell it, I'm just like, this is incredible. Very few scents, when I am warming them, when I go to remove the bar, I'm like, yeah, I kind of feel like I want to put the same scent back in my warmers. Like, usually I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm ready for the next scent. This is one that I'm always like, oh, I could probably just go ahead and put another bar of Hocus Pocus in my warmers and be happy as a clam. Not many scents are like that for me. I love a lot of scents, but very few. I'm like, yeah, I just want to warm this. Oh, and any time of year too. Any time of year. You talk to me about Hocus Pocus, Sanderson Sisters, spring, summer, fall, winter, any day of the week, any time of the day, I'm here for it. So good. Okay, I guess I was gushing, but that might be my number one. For how I was gushing about that. Okay, and the number 3 pick for last year that had to make my list, which is currently available, I am happy to say, is the Frozen 2 inspired bar, The North Calls. I am so happy that this one came back. This one was originally available with the previous Frozen collections that had launched. It's so pretty. It is so pretty. This one I have in my club, and I was never planning on removing it, but Scentsy decided to bring back the amazing Frozen collection, so they went ahead and brought back this amazing scent too, because it is so pretty. This is one that, for me personally, I don't feel like is winter specific. I feel like this scent is so pretty all year round. It is, for me, it smells like a sweet floral. I know it's not. I think there's grapefruit in here. It's more like citrus, kind of fruity, but I get kind of like a floral essence to this. it's absolutely beautiful. This is not a powerhouse, but it is absolutely beautiful. I love warming this one in the bedroom. It is so pretty. So this one did have to make my list because while it was the tail end of 2022, it was available for 2022 and now on into 2023. So I was happy to see this. So this one was actually one that didn't initially make my list. And this actually took the place of Tinselberry. So Tinselberry is available now, same as North Calls, and it is one that really did open my eyes. So this is the honorable mention that we're talking about. Tinselberry really did like open my eyes this year. Really pretty kind of spiced cranberry scent. Really nice. I really enjoyed it. And it definitely would have made my list had I not gone through and picked up the bars and I was like, ooh, the North Calls. I was like, I think that needs to make my list. So dang good. So Tinselberry got knocked down to honorable mention and the North Calls took its place. So there's that. Let me tell you what Scentsy says about the North Calls. So North Calls is an empowering mix of berry and grapefruit, lily of the valley, and a touch of marine. Urge you to discover the truth. Featuring Elsa. So there is that. It's absolutely beautiful and currently available. Okay, next one that had to make my list. There has to be at least one pumpkin scent. There has to be at least one. So there's 3. So pumpkin cinnamon swirl for just like, well, I was gonna say for just a scent that's just featuring pumpkin, but if you know, you know. And we're gonna talk about that scent here in just a second. But first, pumpkin cinnamon swirl. This one is currently available for the fall and winter season. This one will typically go away for the spring and summer season because, well, it's pumpkin. So typically you're not usually reaching for pumpkin scents during the spring and summer months if you are a seasonal melter. But this is just your perfect pumpkin bakery scent. I love this one, and it's always such a hard one for me to choose between pumpkin roll and pumpkin cinnamon swirl. And you would think with the name of this, if you're like afraid of, I shouldn't say afraid, if you don't typically like really cinnamony scents, you would probably say, I'm gonna go more towards pumpkin roll rather than pumpkin cinnamon swirl because there's cinnamon in the name, so it's gonna be spicier. And it's so funny because it's actually the other way around for me. I find I pick up a lot more cinnamon in pumpkin roll than I do pumpkin cinnamon swirl. There's more of, it is like a pumpkin cinnamon pastry, but there is this beautiful, delicious, sweet, decadent vanilla finish that's just, it's like a thick like vanilla frosting that's just taking over. It's wonderful. So it is like, it's a pretty even balance between like pumpkin pastry and like a sweet vanilla finish that is just wonderful. There's not a ton of spice in this, so if you don't do a lot of spice, don't be afraid of that. It's really honestly done really well. So for that reason, I did choose pumpkin cinnamon swirl. But when it does come time for edits, I think the last couple years at least, I have added both pumpkin cinnamon swirl and pumpkin roll because I do love both. But pumpkin cinnamon swirl just has a little bit more of that like vanilla finish. So Scentsy describes pumpkin cinnamon swirl as fresh pumpkin garnished with cinnamon stick and a dollop of whipped icing. And I would kind of agree with that, except like you think cinnamon stick and you think it's more of that like aggressive cinnamon, and it's not. It's like, it is pumpkin spice, but it's so, the spice is so subtle because I think the sweetness of that like vanilla icing is just kind of like taking care of like the aggressive cinnamon. So love it. Had to make my list, definitely. So pumpkin cinnamon swirl. Okay, another one with the honorable mention. So as I was going through my bars, like I was saying, to like grab my top 10 here, because I don't know why I can't just talk at the camera. I feel like I have to be like showing you guys something. Plus I wanted to smell these again and share with you why I love them so much. This one, I saw this in my pumpkin basket. I was over here pulling my pumpkin cinnamon swirl, and what was staring up at me, you guys already know. Very Perry Pumpkin. Very Perry Pumpkin had to make my list. It had to make my list. This was actually voted back for Bring Back My Bar in 2022, and I owe you guys like the biggest, for anyone who voted for this just simply because I said it's amazing and you should vote it back. I'm sending you the biggest virtual hug there ever was because this scent, it's so good, and not everyone loves this. In fact, there's more people who didn't like it than did, and I felt so bad. I was like, if you guys are voting for this and you guys ended up hating it, I'm really sorry. Some people were smelling baby food. Some people were smelling like a rancid kind of scent. I just get sweet canned pumpkin and sweet juicy pear. That it's so good. I love this scent so much that I was like hanging on to bars from years prior. And I had a girlfriend who actually had some bars laying around too. And she was like, here, like, you love this a lot more than I do. And I was like, ah! And so I was just like hanging on to them for dear life. And then we did vote them back for Bring Back My Bar. And for that, I thank you. This is so good. This absolutely had to make my list. I was like, I don't care what I have to cut off of this list, but Very Perry Pumpkin has to make my 2022 list. Otherwise, I'm gonna have people like asking questions. Like, you made such a big deal about this coming back and now it doesn't even make your top for 2022 list. Come on now. Okay, Very Perry Pumpkin is described as sweet nashi pear, fresh picked pumpkin, tart green apple, and toasted spices are carried on a breeze of crisp autumn air. I agree with all of that except for the spices. There is zero spice in this. For me, to my sniffer, I pick up none. Absolutely none. This is just, like I said, sweet pumpkin and sweet juicy pear. So good. So good. I love it. Very Perry Pumpkin, of course, had to make my list. So yay, 2022 for bringing back my Very Perry Pumpkin. Yes. If you are curious what got the cut from the list, whose place did Very Perry Pumpkin take? Winterberry apple tea. I love winterberry apple tea so much, but I was like, of all these others, like which? And I wanted to have some of the summertime ones because here we are, like, obviously we're not in the fall season anymore. We are in winter, but like we're closer to like the fall season. And so like, I don't want to pick all like fall and winter scents, right? Because when it's 100 degrees outside, it starts getting really nice outside. I'm not grabbing for Very Perry Pumpkin. I'm not grabbing for those, right? So I wanted to throw in some of my spring and summer favorites too. But winterberry apple tea, I love it. I love it, love it so much. But yeah, it had to make the cut. I was like, Very Perry Pumpkin has to trump winterberry apple tea. I'm sorry. I love it. But that would be my honorable mention for number 2. So everything else, it made my first initial list. Okay, so next one is a spring and summer favorite for sure, and it is Rainbow Sherbert. I love Rainbow Sherbert. It is so nice. And this is one, good golly, this is good. I love this. I am ready. It doesn't help that like I am ready for like the lighter, fruitier, spring, summer kind of scents, but good golly, this is so good. And this is not one that I typically, because it's kind of a fruit punchy kind of scent. Typically those types of scents are a little too sweet for me, a little too cloying. And so I didn't have a ton of expectation for this, but when this was released, oh man, they just did this so incredibly perfectly, and it's a powerhouse, which you guys know I'm a huge fan of having a nice strong scent. I would like my neighbors 4 doors down and everybody else to smell it. Seriously. This is just, it is that sweet, like fruit punchy kind of scent, but what I love about this is that it has this like lime, like zesty kind of note that just cuts through the sweetness and adds a little bit of acid that just, I feel like this needs, and it's done so perfectly. Oh man, I love it. This is one of those scents somebody had asked, I think it was a Q&A. Somebody had asked scents that like make my mouth water. This is one of them. Oh man, so good. Okay, Rainbow Sherbert. Hopefully this comes back for spring and summer. As of right now, it's not available, but I would be surprised if it doesn't. It's in my club, so I'm safe. But this one's such a good spring and summer scent, and I feel like it's fairly popular. So dang good. Rainbow Sherbert. It's a classic. Orange zest, sugared strawberry, and key lime zing, just like the real thing. And I totally agree. Again, very strong too, so big fan. Rainbow Sherbert had to make my top scents of 2022. Okay, next one is going to be, I feel like these two, like if you have one, you have to have the other, just in my opinion. So of course, if I have one on my list, the other one has to make my list, and that is Coco Lime. I feel like these two together, I don't mix the two together in the same warmer, but you can warm these two together in alternating warmers, and it is just a fruity spring summery paradise. It is lovely. I love Coco Lime. It's so good. And this one actually triggers a scent memory for me. Let's open this, shall we? This triggers a scent memory for me. This just takes me back. This has very zesty, acidic lime, and it's done really, really well. And then you have that coconut that comes through and just adds like just a touch of sweetness, just to kind of like tone down the acid from the lime. It's done so well. This is another one that makes the old mouth jets start going. Really, really nice. But for me, this, because growing up, my grandparents, they had lime trees. And so the smell of lime just kind of takes me back to my grandparents' house. So it's kind of a sentimental kind of scent to me. So I will always remember smelling this for the first time and thinking, oh my gosh, like this totally takes me back to my grandparents' house. Like so nice. So Coco Lime had to make my list. So Coco Lime is described as coconut milk and creamy vanilla get energized with a citrusy splash of fresh lime. There is a lot more of the lime that's in here than what they're making it out to be. Like it's an afterthought. It's not an afterthought at all. I feel like there's not a ton of vanilla in here. I feel like it's more of that like coconut milk and just lime. Ah, so nice. This is another one that is not currently available, but hopefully I'd be surprised if either one of these do not come back for the spring and summer season. So I'm really, really hopeful. We will find out what scents are leaving us and what scents are coming for the spring and summer season. We will find out next month, and I will do a video on that. But here's hoping these two come back because they are lovely. Okay, and my like all-time favorite, hence why it's a brick, my like all-time favorite summer scent from way before I was even a consultant. This is one that just I loved from the minute I was introduced to Scentsy. It is Skinny Dippin'. Yes, I have this in a brick. There is a Scentsy Club perk where you can pick up some of your favorite scents in bricks. Skinny Dippin' is not currently available in bar size, but through Scentsy Club you can get it in a brick. And this I just love. This is in my club just in case. I'm always afraid, like, and people ask, and I honestly don't know. I should probably find the answer to this, but people have asked, like, yeah, but Skinny Dippin' is available through Scentsy Club in the brick, so do I really need to add it as a bar to my club if I can get it in a brick? My fear is that Scentsy's gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna update the bricks and we're gonna get rid of Skinny Dippin', and I didn't add the bar to my club, and then I'm left without it entirely. I don't know if that's ever going to be a thing, but I don't want to find out. So I do have the bar in my club, but I love this scent so much that I do take advantage of this massive brick. And this, I'm telling you, again with scent memory, like smelling this takes me back to my early Scentsy days. I know I'm not talking about early consultant days. I'm talking about like just finding out what Scentsy was. This I think was a part of one of my initial orders with Scentsy, and this just totally takes me back there. This is very tropical, fruity. I think there's apples and pears in this, but I also get kind of like a mango or something in here too that gives it kind of a tropical twist. That's so lovely. Again, this scent isn't necessarily for everybody. Some people smell suntan lotion. I don't. I just smell fruity, tropical goodness. So good. So good. This would be my number one spring and summer scent for sure. So Had to make my list. Skinny Dippin' is described as fresh green apples perfectly harmonized with refreshing melons and juicy pears. I'm just adding in mangoes because I feel like there's mango in here somewhere. I smell it. It's good. It's fruity. It's fabulous. And I hope it does come back for the spring and summer season. So if not, currently you can get it in a brick size through Scentsy Club. Woo! Okay. Next one, number 9. There's 2 more left. This is things are getting difficult. Well, things got difficult like a few ago when I had to cross some others off. But number 9 would definitely be a fall time favorite, and it is Cider Mill. I hope they never do away with this, but this is definitely one that will go into my club every single spring and summer season. This is the perfect start to fall scent. So you know what I mean when like you're done with the summer scents, but it's still warm outside. You kind of feel like you want pumpkin, but you're kind of like, yeah, but I'm not quite ready for like pumpkin spice and bakery and like all of that just yet. This is the perfect, in my opinion, start to fall scent. This is like my go-to because it's just apples and pumpkins with just a hint of spice. This smells to me like a dupe for the Bath & Body Works pumpkin apple. It's so good. And it's just that. It's good, authentic apple, good, authentic pumpkin with just a hint of spice, not overwhelming. Like a lot of like apple spice scents can be, even a lot of pumpkin spice scents can be, but it's simple and it's perfect. And it's the perfect like end of summer start to fall scent for me. Love it. Okay, so let's see here. Cider Mill is, Cider Mill brings together fresh apples, crushed pumpkin, and simmering spices for a cozy autumn treat. Yep. So good. So good. Okay. Number 10. This was so hard, you guys. It really was, especially when I started digging through my bars and to be able to like do a little sniff session with you guys. But oh man, probably one of my favorite scents of the month that did wind up coming back and being added to the seasonal catalog. It is currently available. It is Arctic Kiss. So good. It's so good. And what's so funny to me is that this is not just a winter scent. Besides the fact that the name is Arctic Kiss, I just feel like, and the fact that there's polar bears on the front of it here, this has melons. This has melons. So I feel like this is not, it's not just winter, besides the name of it and the fact that there's polar bears on the front. I feel like this is definitely one that I reach for all year long. Absolutely. It's so good. It's fresh and clean and sweet with the melon. Really nice. And I love that one. So it had to make my list. So Arctic Kiss is described as cool Arctic mint. And I don't get any mint from this whatsoever. This and pink sugarberry mint. That one was another one that I was like, oh, do I put this on? It was so hard to like really narrow down my top 10. But yeah, this and pink sugarberry mint. They say that there's mint in there. They lie. There's no mint. There's no. If there is, it's just giving you a tiny bit of cooling. It doesn't smell like toothpaste or gum or anything like that. It's just adding like a little touch of cooling, if that. That's just my opinion. Cool Arctic mint and fresh air embrace the warmth of fluffy white clouds. What they don't tell you is that there's melon in here. So it's totally appropriate for like all year melting, in my opinion. So good. So I had to make my list. Number 10, Arctic Kiss. So there you have it. Those would be my top 10 scent picks for 2022. This was such a fun idea. So thank you, Tina, for the suggestion. I hope you really enjoyed it. This will probably be something that I do going forward, but instead of waiting until we actually enter the new year, like we did now, I'll probably do a top scents for 2023 at the end of this year. If you like this. If you like this type of video, let me know. I know I like watching them. I don't know why I didn't really even think to like do one. But I hope you found it entertaining. Let me know if we have some of the same top picks for the year, and let me know what your top picks would be. I absolutely love hearing from you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you do like this video, if you do like this type of content. I greatly appreciate the love and support. If you're new, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the notification bell. That way you stay up to date with all things Scentsy. All right, you guys, have an amazing day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.